Hey everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're diving into a story full of suspense and unexpected twists. Imagine a peaceful farm morning turning into a deadly chase, where someone you trust could betray you at any moment. We'll follow Tu Tieu and Uri as they try to escape a shocking kidnapping plot orchestrated by a person closest to them. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss our upcoming videos. The morning was quiet, almost idyllic. Sunlight spilled across the farm, warming the cabbage rows, and the air smelled of fresh earth and dew. Birds chirped overhead, and the chickens clucked lazily as if they had no care in the world. Tu Tieu and Uri had just finished harvesting the morning's cabbage crop, sold everything quickly at the market, and returned home to prepare lunch. The day felt perfect, ordinary, and safe. It was a day when nothing bad could possibly happen, or so it seemed. But calm mornings are deceptive, especially when ambition hides in the shadows. A phone call came, brief and urgent, interrupting the domestic peace. Uri answered cautiously. The voice on the line was almost a whisper. Lin has hired people. Tu Tieu is in danger. Don't let her be caught. The message was short, but its meaning was crystal clear. Uri's face darkened instantly. He didn't panic outwardly, but his movements became precise and methodical. Doors were locked, curtains pulled, phones turned off. Even small traces like footprints were covered. Tu Tieu's heart pounded as she followed him upstairs, where he led her into the attic and pulled a blanket over them. They crouched low, listening. Every sound outside the house now carried potential danger. And then there was a sound that didn't belong to Lin's hired men. It was the familiar, warm steps of Mrs. Lan, Tu Tieu's mother, who had come to the farm carrying a bag of home-cooked food. She called out cheerfully, "Tieu, I brought some breakfast. How's my girl today?" Her voice was full of love, completely unaware of the storm brewing just outside. Behind her, in the shadows, Lin observed everything. Calm, composed, smiling faintly, Lin had a plan. Take Tu Tieu hostage and leverage the girl's property and assets. She was the adopted daughter of Mrs. Lan, but ambition had twisted her loyalty. Tonight, she wasn't family. She was a predator. When Mrs. Lan saw Lin, she wasn't suspicious. Lin stepped forward with an easy smile and said politely, "I was just coming to see Tu Tieu too, but it seems she's not home." Lin's tone was casual, warm even, masking the tension in her eyes. Mrs. Lan nodded, accepting it at face value. Her motherly concern focused on the fact that her daughter was absent. "Ah, she must be busy then," Mrs. Lan said, smiling. She pulled out her phone to call Tu Tieu, wanting to make sure she was safe. Tu Tieu's voice came through immediately, calm and collected. "Mom, I'm traveling right now. Don't worry about me." Mrs. Lan relaxed instantly. She had no idea that Lin had just lied about Tu Tieu's absence, or that she was standing mere steps away from executing a calculated kidnapping plan. With a light heart, Mrs. Lan waved goodbye and left the farm, humming softly, unaware of the danger she had narrowly avoided. Once Mrs. Lan's figure disappeared down the road, the calm of the morning gave way to the storm that had been waiting. Lin's smile hardened. She had cleared the scene, manipulated even her own mother to leave without suspicion, and now could continue her plan undisturbed. Her hired people regrouped, moving silently, preparing to strike the moment they discovered Tu Tieu's location. Meanwhile, upstairs in the attic, Uri and Tu Tieu had to process everything in seconds. The innocent visit from Mrs. Lan, the deception, the awareness that the threat was still very real. The house that had been their sanctuary for years suddenly felt like a trap. Every creak of wood, every rustle of leaves made them flinch. They couldn't trust anyone, not even the family they had known all their lives. Uri's gaze was sharp as he whispered, "She's coming. We have to move soon, or she'll find us, and she won't stop for anything." Tu Tieu nodded, swallowing her fear. Her mother's visit reminded her of what she had to protect, not just her own life, but the peace and safety of those she loved. Mrs. Lan's ignorance had spared her this morning, but it didn't make the threat disappear. Lin's ambition was dangerous, calculated, and patient. Tonight, nothing would remain peaceful. As the sun climbed higher, Lin watched from the edge of the yard, waiting. Her plan was precise. Tu Tieu would be caught, the assets would be in her reach, and nothing would stand in her way. This morning's interruption, the visit from Mrs. Lan, had been a minor setback, but setbacks could be planned for, anticipated, and exploited. Lin smiled faintly, eyes cold. The hunt had only just begun. And for Tu Tieu and Uri, what had started as a peaceful morning at the farm had transformed into a night of fear, strategy, and the desperate need to survive. Night fell over the farm, heavy and suffocating. The golden sunlight that had warmed the cabbages in the morning was gone, replaced by a cold silver glow from the moon hidden behind clouds. Every shadow seemed to stretch longer, deeper, darker, as if the very night was conspiring against them. Tu Tieu and Uri crouched in the attic, hearts hammering, listening to every creak of the wooden floor below, every rustle from the bushes outside. Lin's hired men were already inside the yard, moving like shadows, testing doors, listening for any sign of life. Uri's eyes were sharp, alert, scanning the darkness through a small crack in the attic boards. "They're looking for you," he whispered to Tu Tieu. "They know you're here somewhere. Stay low. Don't make a sound." Tu Tieu swallowed hard. Her hands shook, but she clenched them together, trying to steady her breathing. The thought that Lin, the girl she had known as a sister, the adopted daughter of her own mother, could orchestrate something so cold, so calculated, sent chills down her spine. She had trusted Lin once, but that trust had been twisted, betrayed by ambition. Lin wanted the farm, the property, everything that belonged to Tu Tieu, and she would stop at nothing. The first sounds of intrusion came from the kitchen window. A soft creak, a gentle push, almost imperceptible, but Uri heard it immediately. He placed a finger over his lips. Quiet. Now. The intruder reached for the shelf where the pickled cabbage jars were stored. Uri had been preparing for this night for weeks, months even. One jar, seemingly ordinary, contained a mixture that would react violently if disturbed. He had tested it in secret, perfecting the timing and effect. The moment the intruder's hand brushed the jar, the trap triggered. A sharp, sudden explosion rocked the kitchen, sending shards of glass and a burning stench into the air. The intruder screamed, stumbling backward, clutching his hands as the mixture reacted violently. Chaos erupted instantly. Curses, groans, and the frantic shuffle of feet across the wooden floor. The other hired men froze, unsure whether to proceed or retreat. From the attic, Tu Tieu crouched lower, covering her ears. Her heart was racing, but a small sense of relief flickered. Uri's plan had worked. They had delayed Lin's men, disrupted the initial strike, and now had a chance to escape. Uri's hand gripped hers tightly. "Follow me, downstairs, through the tunnel," he whispered urgently. He moved swiftly, guiding her to a hidden trapdoor behind a stack of storage boxes. Tu Tieu's pulse raced, her mind screaming at her to hesitate, to question whether this was real. But Yuri's calm, determined gaze silenced all doubt. She followed him without question. The trapdoor led to a narrow tunnel beneath the chicken coop. Damp earth pressed against their backs as they crawled through the low passage, the smell of soil and dust filling their nostrils. Every inch forward was deliberate, careful. Outside, the chaos continued. The explosions and shouts had drawn Lin's attention, but she was far from defeated. Her voice, cold and precise, carried faintly through the night as she coordinated her men. Tu Tieu's mind raced. Her mother had left safely, completely unaware of the danger she had just narrowly avoided. But Lin was relentless. The farm that had once been a sanctuary now felt like a battlefield, and they were the prey. Finally, they emerged from the tunnel into a small, hidden shed at the far edge of the property. Dust coated the walls, and old sacks of grain lined the floor. Uri bolted the door and motioned for Tu Tieu to crouch behind some crates. Silence enveloped them, broken only by the faint rustling of leaves outside and the distant voices of Lin's men. "Are we safe?" Tu Tieu whispered, voice trembling. Uri shook his head. "Not safe. Hidden. That's all we have for now. Safe comes later." Tu Tieu nodded, swallowing her fear. The morning's innocence was gone. The farm, the familiar surroundings, even the simple act of cooking lunch. All of it had been replaced by tension, strategy, and the need for survival. Lin had turned a sisterly bond into a deadly threat, and there was no going back. Hours passed. Every sound outside the shed felt amplified. The snap of a branch, the whisper of fabric, the crunch of gravel. Uri kept Tu Tieu low, moving her only when absolutely necessary. "They're circling," he murmured, testing the perimeter, waiting for a mistake. Tu Tieu's thoughts drifted to her mother. Mrs. Lan had been completely innocent in all of this, unaware that the adopted daughter she had raised, Lin, had become a predator in her own home. The thought strengthened Tu Tieu's resolve. She had to survive, not just for herself, but for her family. Then, a faint knock at the shed door made them both freeze. Someone was testing their hiding spot, probing for any sign of movement. Yuri's hand squeezed hers. "Don't move, not a sound." Minutes felt like hours. The knock came again, softer this time, almost casual. Lin was close. Her presence felt like ice against the skin. Tu Tieu realized with horror that this wasn't random. Lin knew their patterns, the way they would move, the hiding spots Uri had prepared. She had grown up under the same roof, observing, learning, anticipating. And now she was using every advantage against them. After what felt like an eternity, the footsteps retreated, fading into the distance. The immediate threat had passed, but only temporarily. Lin's plan was patient. She would wait, watch, and strike again with precision. Uri glanced at Tu Tieu, his expression deadly serious. "This buys us time, but not much. We need to move before she figures out the tunnel, before she finds you again." Tu Tieu nodded, heart pounding. The night had become a chessboard. Every move calculated, every sound a potential signal. She understood that survival would require more than hiding. It would require strategy, foresight, and complete trust in Yuri. Outside, shadows shifted. Lin's figure lingered near the main house, silent and poised, listening to the chaos her plan had caused. She smiled faintly, a cold, measured curve of the lips, Her adopted family had no idea that she had orchestrated the entire scenario, that even her own mother had been manipulated to leave safely while she continued her hunt. Ambition had reshaped her into someone unrecognizable, someone willing to betray blood ties for power and property. Inside the shed, Uri checked the barricades and whispered instructions to Tu Tieu. "We can't stay here long. Once dawn approaches, we'll move through the northern trail. The trees will hide us, and the river path will give us cover. We can't let them catch even a glimpse of us." Tu Tieu nodded, trying to steady her breathing. Her mind replayed the morning, the innocent visit from Mrs. Lan, Lin's deceit, the chaos in the kitchen, the explosive trap that had saved them. Each moment had been a lesson in fear and survival. Each decision Uri had made kept them alive, and every sound outside reminded them that Lin was patient, meticulous, and far from finished. Hours ticked by slowly. The night held them in a tense limbo, full of fear and anticipation. They could hear the wind rustle the leaves, the distant hoot of an owl, and the faint shuffle of Lin's men moving across the property. Every shadow became a potential threat, every whisper a warning. And through it all, Tu Tieu realized one truth. She could trust only Uri and her instincts. As the first hints of dawn began to lighten the sky, Tu Tieu felt exhaustion settle into her bones. But she also felt determination. They had survived the night, evaded the immediate threat, and bought precious time. Lin's plan was far from over, but they had survived the first stage. The hunt had only just begun, and the stakes had never been higher. Uri's voice broke the silence. "Get ready. Dawn is coming. We move soon. We survive. We fight, and we turn this around." Tu Tieu nodded. Fear and adrenaline coursed through her, but beneath it, a spark of resolve ignited. They had escaped the first trap, survived the night, and for the first time, she truly understood that the next moves would decide everything. Lin was still out there, ambitious, patient, and dangerous. But so were they. And they were ready. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a grayish light over the farm. The shadows of the trees stretched long across the fields, hiding them, guiding them. Outside, Lin's figure faded into the distance, silent, calculating, and smiling faintly. She would not give up. Not ever. The game had only begun. But inside the shed, Tu Tieu and Uri were alive. And for now, that was all that mattered. On a seemingly peaceful morning at the farm, Tu Tieu and Uri finished harvesting and selling cabbage, preparing a simple lunch, when a mysterious warning arrives. Lin, the adopted daughter of Tu Tieu's mother, has hired people to kidnap her. Chaos erupts as Uri locks the house, cuts all communication, and hides Tu Tieu in the attic. By chance, Mrs. Lan, Tu Tieu's mother, arrives for a visit, but is unaware of Lin's plot. Lin deceives her, claiming Tu Tieu isn't home. Tu Tieu lies over the phone that she's traveling, allowing her mother to leave safely. As night falls, Lin's hired men break in, triggering traps set by Uri. In a tense escape through a hidden tunnel, Tu Tieu and Uri survive the night, but the dangerous hunt has only just begun.